Good morning. Another day, another bombshell report on the Russia investigation. This one comes from the Washington Post, and it involves the embattled Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
Now, the story says that U.S. spy agencies intercepted communications between the Russian ambassador to the U.S., Sergei Kislyak, and his superiors back in Moscow, in which Kislyak talked about conversations that he had during the presidential campaign with then-Senator Jeff Sessions, a major Trump supporter.
According to the Post, Kislyak told his bosses that he and Sessions discussed both campaign and policy issues. Now, this directly contradicts what Sessions told Congress during his confirmation hearings for the job of Attorney General back in January.
Now, it is important for us to point out here, we don't know whether Kislyak was exaggerating to simply impress his bosses or perhaps planting false information to confuse American intelligence agencies. This info is only coming from him.
Either way, it's a major new development, and it comes as we head into a week when people close to Trump, including his son, Don Jr., and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and former campaign manager Paul Manafort will be meeting behind closed doors with investigators on Capitol Hill. We begin our coverage this morning with ABC's David Wright, who's at the White House. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan and Paula. The president is already up this morning and tweeting his outrage at the Post story, blasting what he calls another case of intelligence leaks and adding these illegal leaks, like Comey's, must stop. Well, the story drops on a day that the president heads to Norfolk, Virginia to commission an aircraft carrier, hoping to change the subject. Trump's trip to the most advanced aircraft carrier ever built comes as the White House is eager to get back in fighting form. It's his second trip to the USS Gerald Ford. Back in March, he put on the presidential bomber jacket and ended up being bombarded himself.
When did you first learn that Sessions spoke to the Russian ambassador?
With questions about Attorney General Jeff Sessions' decision to recuse himself from investigations into Russia and the campaign. This week, Trump told the New York Times he would have picked somebody else had he known Sessions would recuse himself. Now, Sessions' own account of his contacts with the Russians is under fire. Despite his repeated denials,
I never had meetings with Russian operatives or Russian intermediaries about the Trump campaign.
The Washington Post reports that the Russian ambassador's own accounts of 2 meetings with Sessions contradict that. The phone calls, according to the Post, intercepted by U.S. intelligence agencies. One source tells ABC News the two did discuss foreign policy issues, but there was no discussion of Russian interference in the campaign. All of this on a day when the White House rolled out its new communications team. Businessman Anthony Scaramucci is in the top job. He wasn't always a fan of Trump's.
You called Donald Trump a hack?
He's a hack politician.
Does he know what you said about him back in 2015 when you said he was a hack politician?
He brings it up every 15 seconds, okay? Mr. President, if you're listening, I personally apologize for the 50th time. I love the president.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the new White House press secretary. Outgoing press secretary Sean Spicer told Sean Hannity Trump didn't want him to quit.
He wanted to bring some new folks in to help rev up the communications operation. And after reflection, my decision was to recommend to the president that I give Anthony and Sarah a clean slate to start from.
Now, Spicer also told Hannity he tried to be good-humored about all those jokes at his own expense, but saying that some of them went from funny to mean. Overnight, the president tweeted out, quote, "He's a wonderful person. He took a tremendous amount of abuse from the fake news media, but his future is bright." Dan and Paula?
David Wright, thank you very much, reporting from the White House.